Hello everyone, and welcome back to our channel. Today, we re-dive in deep into a story that has fascinated America for nearly a century, the story of Bonnie and Clyde. But we're not just talking about their infamous crime spree. We're exploring what happened asterisk after asterisk. The guns went silent after that fateful ambush in Louisiana. How did two of the most wanted criminals in America transform into enduring cultural icons? The story of their legacy is just as wild as the story of their lives. Let's start with the car. That 1934 Ford V8, riddled with over 100 bullet holes, became an instant, morbid celebrity. The moment the smoke cleared, souvenir hunters descended, trying to grab anything they could: shell casings, shattered glass, even bits of blood-stained clothing. The sheriff, Frank Hammer, had to fight them off. The car itself was towed to a nearby town, and almost immediately, it became a public spectacle. Thousands of people flocked to see it. A tangible, brutal piece of the legend. The car's owner, a man from Kansas, had to sue the sheriff to get it back. Once he did, he realized he had something far more valuable than a used car. He leased it to an amusement operator, and the death car, as it was gruesomely nicknamed, began a nationwide tour. For the price of a ticket, people could gawk at the bullet-riddled metal and the stained upholstery. It was exhibited at state fairs, amusement parks, and crime shows. It was a traveling monument to violence, but also, in a strange way, to the couple who had captured the nation's imagination. Even today, that car sits in a casino in Nevada, a permanent, silent witness to their final moments, still drawing crowds. But the legend wasn't just built on metal and glass, it was built on words. When the authorities searched Bonnie's belongings, they found something unexpected in her purse, alongside her lipstick and her gun. They found her poems. One of them, titled The Story of Bonnie and Clyde, was an eerie, self-written eulogy. It told their story from their own perspective, painting them not just as criminals, but as people who were cornered, misunderstood, and destined for a violent end. She wrote, "Someday they'll go down together, and they'll bury them side by side. To a few, it'll be grief to the law, a relief, but it's death for Bonnie and Clyde." These poems were immediately published in newspapers across the country, and they changed everything. Suddenly, Bonnie wasn't just a gun-toting moll. She was a poet, a romantic, a woman with a voice. The poems gave the public a glimpse into her mind, humanizing her in a way that news reports of bank robberies never could. It added a layer of tragic romance to their story. Here was a woman who knew her fate, who chronicled her own legend as she was living it. It was this discovery that truly began to shift the narrative from a simple crime story to a modern American epic. And the personal touch didn't stop there. Soon after their deaths, love letters exchanged between Bonnie and Clyde also surfaced. These weren't the writings of hardened criminals. They were passionate, tender, and full of declarations of undying love. Clyde wrote about how his life was meaningless before he met Bonnie. Bonnie wrote about her absolute devotion to him, willing to follow him anywhere. even to the grave. These letters were published, read by millions, and they cemented the romantic core of their myth. The public was captivated. This wasn't just a partnership in crime. It was a grand, all-consuming love affair. They were seen as star-crossed lovers, two souls against the world, bound together by a love so powerful that not even the threat of death could break it. This idea of a ride-or-die romance became central to their enduring appeal. Of course, not everyone was swept up in the romance. In the immediate aftermath, public opinion was sharply divided. For the law enforcement officers who had hunted them, and for the families of the people they had killed, Bonnie and Clyde were nothing more than cold-blooded murderers. They represented a breakdown of law and order, a menace that had been rightly and necessarily extinguished. Editorials in many newspapers condemned the public's fascination with them, calling it a shameful glorification of violence and criminality. They pointed to the victims, the police officers, the innocent bystanders whose lives were cut short. To this segment of the population, the romantic narrative was an insult to the memory of those who had suffered at their hands. But on the other side, especially among those hit hardest by the Great Depression, there was a different feeling. There was a current of admiration, even sympathy. Too many impoverished and disenfranchised Americans, the banks and the government, were the real enemies. Bonnie and Clyde were seen as rebels, modern-day Robin Hoods, though they never actually gave money to the poor who were fighting back against a system that had failed them. They were daring, they were glamorous, and they were living life on their own terms, however short that life might be. The famous photographs of them posing with guns and cigars, looking like movie stars, only fueled this image. They were underdogs who had the guts to challenge authority, and for many, that was a fantasy worth celebrating. As the years and decades passed, the sharp edges of their crimes began to soften in the collective memory. The shame and the outrage faded, while the romance and the rebellion grew stronger. The line between fact and fiction blurred. The historical figures of Bonnie Parker and Clyde Barrow were gradually replaced by the mythological archetypes of Bonnie and Clyde. This transformation was supercharged by popular culture. Songs were written about them, from folk ballads in the 1930s to songs by artists like Serge Gainsbourg and Jay-Z. Their story was perfect for the silver screen, and in 1967, the film Bonnie and Clyde, starring Warren Beatty and Faye Dunaway, hit theaters. This movie was a cultural phenomenon. It redefined them for a new generation, portraying them as glamorous, anti-establishment heroes. The film's stylish depiction of violence and its sympathetic portrayal of the outlaws resonated with the counterculture of the 1960s. It solidified their status as icons of rebellion and doomed love. After that movie, Bonnie and Clyde were no longer just historical figures. They were a brand, a symbol. They represented the ultimate ride-or-die couple, the embodiment of living fast and dying young. From a bullet-riddled car to a Hollywood blockbuster, the legend of Bonnie and Clyde has been built piece by piece, shaped by poems, letters, and the changing attitudes of a nation. They were criminals. Yes, but they were also poets, lovers, and in the end, a mirror reflecting America's own complex relationship with fame, rebellion, and violence. Their story continues to fascinate us because it's more than just a crime spree. It's a modern myth about love, death, and the desperate search for freedom in a world that seems to offer none. They found their freedom on the open road, and their immortality in the stories we continue to tell about them. Thanks so much for watching. What do you find most fascinating about the legacy of Bonnie and Clyde? Let me know down in the comments. And if you enjoyed this journey into the past, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more stories from history. See you next time.